Howdy everyone, and welcome back to the studio. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how I build my own frames for my paintings. I build my own frames for a couple different reasons. One of them is I like to be able to have the control and have the desired effect at the end. I also build on different canvas sizes sometimes that aren't available for just purchase, so it's nice to be able to have the flexibility. I do have a background in carpentry and construction, so this is something I'm also quite familiar with. So I just finished up this frame for this larger painting, and I'm going to go over the whole process. We're going to go over to the shop and I'm going to show you how I did it. So I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get started. So sometimes I cut the tree down myself and take it to a mill. But in this case, I just bought the lumber from another local mill and bought number 2 large that has circular saw marks in the actual wood, which will give it a really interesting characteristic. I start by milling up each board. I choose a standard width, in this case about 2 3/4 inches wide. I run it through the table saw and get each leg and each header and lower. Next up, I put a miter on each side. And then I measure out my exact inside measurements and place another mark on the board and come back and do the final miter joint. This one I like to be quite precise on. So when I decide all my miters look good and clean, I put a little dab glue in, and I use this trick with this masking tape to help hold that miter tight before I apply a finish screw. I'm pre-drilling right here so the wood doesn't split when I put this small finish screw in. This finish screw is actually going to be hidden. It will just add an extra layer of strength for this heavier painting. Now I'm going back to the table saw here, and I'm going to mill these outer boards. There's 3 stages to this frame: an inner, the middle, and an outer trim. Right here I'm beginning to mill up the inner pieces of the trim. These are 1/4 inch wide, and they're going to fit right inside the actual frame. They'll be a different tone than the rest of the frame to help bring the more highlight to the actual painting. I dry fit everything first to make sure it's all good and clean. You don't want it to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose either. So for this inner trim piece, it's actually going to sit up 1/4 inch higher than the rest of the frame. This will allow my painting to sit flush against the back side of the frame. It will also give a nicer appeal for the trim. When I'm happy with that fit, I will pull it out, and I will be doing an oil on it later. Right now I'm putting shims underneath the main component of the frame so that hardware later on can be hidden against the wall. This is the outer trim board, and I'm using a clamp right now so that all my miters are going to line up and there's no shifting, especially when I begin putting nails in this. I use a small brad nailer with 3/4 inch to 1 inch to up to 1.5 inch size nails. And I glue all the joints. Now I begin putting some nails in it, and I always make sure to angle the nails a little bit, not to go completely straight in, and that actually gives the nail more holding power. later on I will go over with a little bit of wood filler, and you'll never even know they were there. You should always be careful when using nail guns. Keep your hand as far away as possible. Sometimes those little nails like to hit a knot and they'll come flying right up and go right in your finger. So I actually already applied an oil to the outer frame, and that's why you didn't see that, because my camera cut out. I went ahead and shot the whole thing together, and now I'm going around. I'm using compressed air to clean off the frame before I apply a finish. So I'm using this polyacrylic as an outer seal with rough sawn wood. Especially, it can be a bit rough even with a little bit of sanding done on it. So I'll do 3 coats of this, and it will give it a nice smooth surface so it can be easily cleaned in the future. It also makes the wood pop and looks quite nice. I only do it on the front. The back side of the wood can still breathe. So I already put the painting inside the cradle of this frame and am now putting up hardware. You'll notice there's actually another painting on the back side of this painting that I'm putting in this frame, and that's basically just because I had run out of canvases and I still wanted to do this painting. And I live very far away from any store, so sometimes I just can't get to town to get those materials, so I just went ahead and put another one on the back. Now these little tabs you can get on Amazon, and they're really easy to use. You just screw them in and you can change them out anytime you need. And now I'm applying hanging hardware, and this cable and the hangers are rated for about 100 pounds, so it gives me peace of mind knowing that this will never fall off the wall. I use a certain type of knot to tie this. You can find that on YouTube if you're ever interested in how to actually professionally hang paintings. Make sure it's good and tight, but still has some slack. And it's ready for hanging. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I plan to do a second video in the near future of how I build floating frames, which are a lot simpler, a lot fewer steps, and the frames also come out quite nice. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you have any comments or questions, just go ahead and leave them below and I'll answer them. So until next time, take care.